Well, folks,
I did my waiting! 12 years of it!
and it's paid off. The Five Nights at Freddy's film is here, and despite a few flaws, I'm happy to report it's amazing. And yeah, I'm a bit biased because this is like the one thing I've grown up on since it came out, and I've got a lot of knowledge on the lore and the games. Before this came out, I made a short saying don't listen to the critics and form your own opinion. If you hated it, most likely you haven't played the games or don't know the lore. That is most critics. Audience reactions, though, have been great. And while it's not completely like the games, it's still enjoyable. Matthew Lillard does great as Afton, and let's be honest, we needed more of him because his entire role is just at the beginning for a scene and not till the very end. I'm going to do cons first. As I previously said in my Stranger Things 4 review, most of this will be me fangirling, but way more than that one. Let's get to the cons. So the biggest one to me is that we didn't get enough Springtrap, and they just call him the Yellow Rabbit, not even Spring Bonnie, but that's fine. We get like 5 minutes of him. All he really does is knock Mike out, get shot, and spring locked. Yes, I'll get to that later. Also, Mike's dream sequences take up too much screen time. Some of it could be dedicated to the backstory of how Afton killed the kids, or later when Vanessa reveals he's her dad. They could have flashed back to the 80s. Also, it's built up as a mystery when we know that Steve Raglan is really Afton. So why would he need a fake name if they don't suspect it was him in the first place? I just feel like 4 dream sequences is 4 too many. Maybe 2 would have done the job. They could have handled it better. And I hope they improve in the sequel. Also, this next bit is just a theory, but people are thinking Mike's dad is Henry, which I don't know why Scott would swap the families, and if this is true, then I'll be a bit upset. Also, people are saying Mike's dad ran away when I interpreted Mike saying his dad couldn't take it as committing suicide. I don't know, that might have just been me. Alright, I'm sick of criticizing, let's get to the pros. Pros, Matthew Lillard's performance as Afton. When he took off the Springtrap mask, it was giving me Ghostface vibes. The I always come back line, despite people saying it was delivered badly, what did you expect? Maybe he could have done it a bit slower, but it's fine. The creature design. The fact that this is practical effects and not CGI like so many films these days makes it much more believable, and the animatronics building the fort was so wholesome and I loved it. People also complain about that, but they're literally children. Like, this is what children do. The Matt Pat cameo, because I wasn't expecting it. I'm a bit upset that they showed Corey in the trailers, but like, whatever. It's okay for like a funny gag at the end. Plush Corey shows up later. Balloon Boy, he was a bit smaller than in the games. I don't know if this is the real one, because he does show up in that mid-credit scene with Corey. It could be him, but I'm not sure. If he is this small, then like, that's a pretty big change from the games. But his whole thing was to just be annoying, and he kind of was in this. Even though he didn't speak or laugh, he was just constantly jump scaring people. I think that's the one time I like got genuinely jump scared, other than like when Springtrap came out. As I was saying about the Matt Pat cameo, though, he made a video on his channel saying that apparently Markiplier was supposed to be the security guard that got killed in the beginning, but now that he wasn't in it, this could open opportunities for him to be somebody different, and maybe he doesn't have to die. I don't know. Just seeing Markiplier die at the beginning would have been like, oh, that's Markiplier. Oh no, he's dead. That sucks. Another pro is the soundtrack itself. The Newton Brothers did an absolutely amazing job, especially with Springtrap's theme and the opening credits theme. They really tapped into the 80s vibes, especially with the opening, with the 8-bits and the synth type music that they did. And the orchestral tones in Springtrap is finally introduced. Is really creepy, and it ups the creep factor. And like, if you just listen to the soundtrack alone, you would get the impression that this is like a genuine horror movie. Although like they throw some comedy in there, it's funny at times. I laughed at a few things, like Afton's first scene, but like other than that, not really. It wasn't like a joke every 2 seconds like Marvel does every time. Even in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I like that, but like they put a joke right after the big emotional scene where everyone of Rocket's friends dies. This here is actually what Marvel should do, where it's just like, oh, you throw a joke in here and there throughout the entire film when you're trying to tell a serious story, instead of just having a joke every 2 seconds because it needs to be funny. Going back to the soundtrack, though, they played the puppet theme in the credits, also with the voice from the mini games spelling out "Come Find Me." I initially thought it was "It's Me." It says "Come Find Me." That's either Garrett, which people are saying that he's going to be the puppet, which I don't know. That's kind of too far from the source material for me, because Charlotte, which is Henry's daughter, is the puppet in the games, and well, I didn't know it was a woman until recently, but that's fine. If it is Garrett, though, it's just gonna take away one that Mike's brother was possessing Golden Freddy, 2, that you had an actually like okay character in the puppet to begin with, and it's just now changing it. Just a midpoint con here, Golden Freddy didn't get any screen time either, even less so than Springtrap, because he showed up, he killed the ant character, and then he taxi cabbed Abby back to the pizzeria and disappeared. I wish we got more Golden Freddy as well, just on the subject. It is 2 people in Golden Freddy usually, and we did get It's Me on the mirror, so maybe it's Garrett, and maybe people are just going crazy with the theories. I really hope that they don't change the puppet into Garrett, though. So, but who could it be? I don't know. Maybe they'll introduce Henry and Charlie in the next one. We'll see. Hopefully Scott learns from the criticism of this and turns out something a bit better for the sequel. Because let me tell you, this is getting a sequel. Just look at the box office. Aside from the box offices of It Chapter 1 and 2, it is the second biggest opening. And this was made on a budget of $25 million, so they more than tripled their money. And this was released on streaming at the same time. A bit of a bad business decision on Universal's part, but still, now Marvel can't use the excuse that, oh, people aren't going to see the Marvels because they're just waiting for it to be on streaming. People decided to not sit in their homes and just watch Five Nights at Freddy's in their house, and they decided to go out and support it. This is already at 100 million, I think, worldwide. So they're definitely going to grow. It's only been out for a weekend. So it's just going to go up and up and up and up and up until something dethrones it. But it's not going to be the Marvels, that's for sure. Midpoint con here. Mike didn't have a night where he was watching the cameras and he had to shut the doors and shit and defend from them. That was a bit disappointing because the whole premise of the first game was to, defend your office from the animatronics. Also, I'm disappointed that there was no phone guy. I mean, you have Afton emulating him when he says, see you on the flip side, but, I'm not pleased, really. And Scott worked on this, so he could have easily reprised his role as phone guy. They replaced it with, an 80s training video to show how dated the place was. Back to the pros here. When the animatronics go all batshit crazy on the people breaking in, that was actually the most entertaining part of the film. And the producers were wrong when they said Bonnie was the most savage, because that flipping cupcake was the best part of the film, aside from probably Springtrap and the soundtrack. It was so funny whenever it was just go apeshit crazy and in the vents and just trying to get people. And it was one of the main threats near the end when Mike couldn't get to the electricity staff, I think that's what it's called, to electrocute it. That cupcake is so flipping funny, and we need more of him in the sequel. Also, when Max, the character, gets bit in half, everyone said, was that the Planet of 87? In the theater, and I'm pretty sure that's what they were going for, but without actually doing it, which I'm a bit upset about. But it's whatever. They're trying to make their own thing movie canon instead of game canon. They're trying to divert a bit from the games, and that's okay. They're trying to make some original content with the stuff that they already have instead of just completely destroying the source material. The song at the end by The Living Tombstone. Everybody loves that song, and I would have been upset if they hadn't played it at the end. It would have worked better, I think, if they put the opening credits at the end instead, like they should be, but still, they had a pretty cool opening theme. But, I feel if they played that song not over just the scrolling credits and, the main on-end stuff, then it would have been better. But they still played the song, which I'm really happy about, and lots of people were happy about. That's pretty much it. I cannot tell you how excited I am for the sequel, and I cannot tell you how happy I am that for once a studio came out and said, we made this specifically for the fans. Had I not been a fan and known, nothing about the games or about the lore and just gone into it blind, and that would have been my fault, because I didn't invest my time and do a bit of research about, what's this all about? What happens in the games? What's the premise? That would have been my fault. And I'm glad that a studio finally said, you know what? We're making this for the fans. We're not going to try and make normies and general audiences understand this by, destroying the source material to the point that it doesn't even look like the source material, like a certain other company. The Springlock scene is probably the most anticipated moment, which I honestly didn't think they would do it. And it took a little while for them to actually deploy, but they did a good job of it, and they didn't deploy the face ones, I think, because it would have been R-rated territory, and they wanted to keep it PG because there is younger fans of this series. But still, I'm glad that we got the Springlock scene. It could have been a bit better, but I like how they executed it in the end. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Screw critics. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. I just want to say before I go, watch the Marvels get like 90% and like 20% audience. Just watch. That's my final thoughts there. Until next time, you guys, I'm Artosaurus, signing off.